Okay, let's dive right in. We're going to pull back the curtain on something you probably use every single day, software. Because behind that clean digital interface is a massive physical machine hiding in plain sight. And that machine, well, it's starting to change everything, especially your bottom line.
It all starts with something that seems so simple, right? You get an invoice in your email, maybe it's for that new AI writing assistant or your project management tool. It's just a line item on your profit and loss statement. Simple. And when you see that bill, your brain does something very specific. It files it away under Tool. It's abstract, it's weightless, it just kind of exists out there, in the cloud.
But here's the twist. While you see a simple tool, the physical world, the actual electrical grid, sees a massive growing problem. And this huge disconnect between what we see and what's really happening, that's where our story really begins. This disconnect isn't just a random quirk. It actually has a name. We're calling it the infrastructure blindness trap. Think of it like a cognitive blind spot that affects almost every decision we make about technology, without us even realizing it. So here's the core idea. Our brains are just not wired for the digital age. We evolved over thousands of years to track resources we could see and touch. You get this visceral, anxious feeling when you see the woodpile for the winter getting low, but we feel absolutely nothing when a server rack on another continent spins up to process our request. What the brain can't see, it just automatically undervalues. And this slide just lays it out perfectly. On one side, you've got the stuff we are hardwired to notice. Firewood burning down, grain stores getting smaller. It's visceral, it's immediate. But on the other side, computation in the cloud, electricity consumption, it's totally invisible. It's delayed. It's been laundered through so many layers of abstraction that it feels like it has no physical cost at all. Okay, so let's make it visible. Let's peel back those layers. In this next section, we're going to move from the psychology of the trap to the truly shocking physical scale of the infrastructure that's powering your weightless software. All right, here's our first reality check. A single top-of-the-line AI server rack from NVIDIA can draw 120 kilowatts of power. Now, that number probably doesn't mean much, so let me put it this way. That is enough electricity to power about 100 U.S. homes, all at the same time, from one single rack. Okay, now let's zoom out, way out. The International Energy Agency projects that by 2026, data centers around the world will be chewing through 1,000 terawatt hours of electricity every single year. I mean, what even is that number, right? Well, it's roughly the entire annual electricity consumption of Japan, the whole country. And all that power, it generates an incredible amount of heat, which means you need a ton of cooling. A large data center can guzzle up to 5 million gallons of water every single day. That is the same amount of water a small city of 30,000 people would use every day, just to keep the cloud from melting. This brings us to a fascinating and kind of mind-blowing question. This demand for power is becoming so extreme, so relentless, that tech companies are now turning to the most powerful and, let's be honest, controversial energy source we have. And check this out. This isn't some hypothetical future. This is happening right now. As this timeline shows, Microsoft has already signed a deal to help restart the 3 Mile Island Unit 1 reactor, specifically to power its AI data centers. The digital world is now literally driving the physical energy world at a scale we've never seen before. So, this isn't just some interesting story about giant companies and power plants. This massive demand shock is about to show up in a very real way on your P&L. You can think of it as a hidden power tax on every single digital thing you do. So let's get down to brass tacks. What does all this actually mean for your business, for your invoices, for your budget? How does the power demand from 1,000 servers in Virginia actually hit your wallet? Well, research from Carnegie Mellon University estimates this data center boom is going to increase the average U.S. electricity bill by about 8% by 2030. But, and this is the key part, look at the difference on this chart. If you happen to be in a data center hub like Northern Virginia, that increase could be over 25%. That cost is going to ripple through everything. And it's not just going to be hidden in your utility bill. The cost is coming directly to your software bill. Gartner, one of the biggest names in tech research, is predicting that within just a couple of years, the majority of cloud contracts will explicitly pass these energy costs on to you. The abstraction is finally breaking down. So how does this infrastructure blindness actually play out in the real world for regular business? And more importantly, how do you start to see these costs before they sneak up and crush you? Let's look at a quick case study. So there was this marketing agency, and they thought they were being super clever. They used 8 different, pretty cheap AI tools to triple their output. But over 2 years, all these little staggered price hikes, the ones disguised as feature upgrades, caused their software bill to balloon by nearly 70%. Each individual increase felt tiny, but the cumulative effect was just devastating. Their aha moment only came when they finally plotted the total cost on a single graph and saw the trend line. Now, their solution wasn't to just ditch AI altogether. It was to completely change their mental model. They consolidated their vendors to get more negotiating power. They actually started measuring the true cost per piece of content. They got strategic about what really needed AI, and they started passing that computational cost on to their own clients. They began treating software like the real, physical resource it actually is. Okay, so let's bring it all home. How can you take these lessons and actually apply them? How do you rewire your own brain to escape this infrastructure blindness trap before it's too late? It really comes down to 3 key shifts in your thinking. First, stop seeing software as just a tool and start seeing it as infrastructure exposure. You need to know who your vendors depend on. Second, look beyond that sticker price. You have to calculate the total system cost, including how that tool changes the way your team works. And third, and this is a big one, treat your data like it's physical inventory in a warehouse. It has a real carrying cost just to let it sit there. So we'll end on this thought. The days of treating digital costs as abstract and weightless, they're over. Every single line item for software on your P&L is really just a placeholder for a physical claim on the world's power and water. Your software bill is now, fundamentally, an energy bill. The only question is, are you reading it correctly?